Welcome, learners. This is English lesson. I believe where you are keeping safe. Today, I want us to look at something, and I believe this is not the first thing that you are going to interact with what I'm going to teach. Language practice, and we are going to look at question tags. Learners, I believe this is not the first time you are interacting with these words, question tags. You have been interacting with these words since class 4, and therefore this is not a new thing to you. Question tag is a question put at the end of a sentence. It's a question put at the end of a sentence, and that's why it is referred to us as a question tag. Now, it is very useful. This question is very useful because it is used in a conversation to get a response or a confirmation. Question tag is used in a conversation to get a response or a confirmation. So if you want to confirm the statement or you want to respond to the statement, then we use question tag. Now, these question tags, before I move to what we need to consider as we go through or as we tackle question tags, we have 3 key rules that we need to observe. Rule number 1, we separate statement and question tag by a comma. And of course, you know, when we use a comma in English, then the next part of that sentence after the comma, you should start with small letter unless it is a proper noun. And therefore, make sure you separate. These are minor things, and I have observed learners overlooking them. And these things have been tested in exams, and if you are not careful, then you may make a mistake in grammar. Rule number 2, because it is a question at the end of a sentence, after this question tag, you need to use a question mark. So you need to punctuate that sentence by using a question mark. Use a question mark at the end of question tag. So those are 3 rules that you need to follow, which you need to follow as we tackle question tags. Now, learners, I want to go, it was just a reminder because you have been interacting with this. I want us now to go to our business. We need to look at the considerations that we need to observe when we are tackling question tags. So I will say points to note or note the following about question tags. We have about 8 points that we need to put in consideration when we are handling question tag. First point, a positive statement takes a negative question tag. A positive statement takes a negative question tag. A positive statement, number one, a positive statement takes a negative question tag. A positive statement takes a negative question tag. Example, I know you have various examples. Hannah is a pupil in this school. Hannah is a pupil in this school. This statement is positive. This statement is positive. And therefore, if we want to get the question tag of that statement, our question tag should be negative. I know you know the answer, so you can confirm with what I have. Hannah is a pupil in this school. Isn't she? Isn't she? Hannah is a pupil in this school. Isn't she? So you will agree with me that isn't is the short form of is not. So the word not on that question tag means that the question tag itself is in negative form. Is in negative form. Point number 2, I believe you are noting those points. You are noting those points. Point number 2, a negative statement takes a positive question tag. Now the opposite of what I have written here. The opposite of this, the first statement, is this second statement. That a negative statement takes a positive question tag. A negative statement learners, a negative statement takes a positive question tag. We can use our first example for us to understand better. Example, you can say, Hannah is not a pupil in this school. Hannah is not a pupil in this school. The word not on that statement or on that clause makes it negative. And therefore, we are expected to use or to tag or to add a positive question tag. So when we say Hannah is not a pupil in this school, that statement is negative. I know, learners, you know the answer, and you can confirm your answer with mine. So the tag there will be is she. Is she. Anna is not a pupil in this school. The statement is negative. The question tag will be is she. So you will agree with me that is she is a positive statement or a positive tag. Point number 3 to consider when we are handling question tags. When an auxiliary verb has been used in the sentence or in the main clause, it is used in the question tag. You need to underline in the main clause because we may have simultaneous auxiliary verbs, but one will act as a helping verb. So I know we have so many examples, but let us consider this example. They had just finished the story. They had just finished the story. This is KCP 2011, number 16. They had just finished the story. Now, in this case, underline the word had. Underline the word had on that sentence. You will realize that the word had is an auxiliary verb. Learners, an auxiliary verb, don't be scared with this word auxiliary verb. Auxiliary verb is the synonym of a helping verb. So when you hear auxiliary verb, we talk about helping verb. So here, the word had is a helping verb on this sentence. So I believe you have noted the third point, that when an auxiliary verb has been used in the main clause, it is used in a question tag. KCP 2011, they had just finished reading the storybook. Our question tag will be, hadn't they? So you can see we are repeating the word had on this question tag because it has been reflected on the main clause. Learners, I believe we are together. I believe we are together. Point number 4. Point number 4 to note. If the main part of a sentence does not have an auxiliary verb, if the main part of a sentence does not have an auxiliary verb, then learners, we are required to introduce the correct form of the verb do. If the main clause or the main part of the sentence does not have an auxiliary verb or a helping verb, we are required to introduce the verb or the correct form of the verb do. And here, I just want to explain, when I talk about correct form of the verb do, it will keep on changing depending on the tense. And of course, you know in English, mainly we are guided by the verbs used. If you want to know the sentence is in the past or in the simple present tense or past, we are guided by the tense of the verb. Example, when the main verb in a sentence is in the simple present tense, then the question tag is formed with do. So if we have simple present tense, learners, simple present tense, you need to underline that. If the main clause or the main verb in a sentence is in the simple present tense, then learners, we use do or does. I will give various examples that will guide us to understand when are we going to use do or does. Example, you have danced well. You have danced well. You have danced well. That sentence is in the simple present tense. So we are required to use, and remember, the sentence is in the simple present tense, and the statement itself is a positive statement. And therefore, our response will be, don't you. In KCP 2011, number 17, there was this question, she often sings in the choir. She often sings in the choir. Underline the word sings because that is the main verb on that sentence. And look at the nature of that verb. Sings. So that is simple present tense. sings. So, the first statement where I said, you have danced well, the verb there is dance. So I want us to see the difference between dance and sings. So learners, if the sentence is in the simple present tense and the verb has s at the end, then we introduce does in our question tag. So she often sings in the choir. Doesn't she? Doesn't she? However, if the verb is in the simple past tense, if the verb is in the simple past tense, learners, the verb do will also change. So we use did. Did is used. Did is used. Learners, this question was set in KCP 2009. She passed her exam very well. She passed her exam very well. I want you to underline the word passed, because that is where we are going to concentrate. That is what will help us to reach the correct question tag. Passed is the past tense of the word pass. So that gives us, that will make us to know or understand that the sentence itself is in the simple past tense. So she passed her exam very well. Didn't she? Didn't she? Point number 5. If there is a modal auxiliary verb, if there is a modal verb, if there is a modal verb in a statement, it is also used in a question tag. So don't be confused when we talk about auxiliary verb and modal verbs. Modal verbs, these are verbs that are used repeatedly, that they are commonly used. They are commonly used. Example, we have cold, can, we have will. This will help us to understand them very well. So, if there is a modal verb in a statement, it is also used in a question tag. Example, they could see the adjudicator. They could see the adjudicator. They could see the adjudicator. The modal verb here is could. The modal verb here is could. And therefore we repeat the same. Because the statement is positive, then when we'll be responding, couldn't they as our answer, we say the second part, the first, a positive statement takes a negative statement. So this one is applied all through. Point number 6, the question tag for I am is aren't. The question tag for I am is aren't. That is the rule. The question tag for I am is aren't. I am taller than her, aren't I? I am taller than her. Then lastly, learners, very important thing, commands and requests. Commands and requests requires or usually take a positive question tag. Command or request. Example, if we say, please help me with a spoon. Will you? Please help me with a spoon. Will you? Let us sing. Shall we? So if you want to differentiate these two, when you find a sentence with the word let, usually the question tag will be shall. The question tag will be shall. And finally, we have what we call negating words. I cannot go without naming negating words. The words that will, the words that will make statements to be negative, because I have seen learners confusing. So you can write this negating word. We have hardly. Hardly is a negating word. Negating words, they are words that will make statements negative. Hardly. Learners, number 2, scarcely, seldom, barely, few, little. We have scarcely, barely, seldom, few, and little. Of course, when they use article "a" on few and little, example, a few and a little, those are positive words. But if they don't use them, then it will remain negative. If they don't use them, it will remain negative. Let me write those examples of negating words. We have barely, hardly, rarely, seldom, few, little. You can add there not. This is a common one. Not. It's also an example of negating words. So these words will make our statement negative. So you can attempt these 2 questions. Number 1, let us sing. Let us sing. Apply question tag on that statement. Number 2, he rarely attends the meeting. 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 Thank you, learners. That is the end of our lesson.